The lighthouse exterior. A towering, weather-beaten lighthouse stands on jagged black cliffs, its white paint cracked like bone. A violent storm rages. Waves explode against the rocks, sea spray hangs frozen in the air, and the beacon's light flickers unnaturally. Sometimes too bright, sometimes almost dying. In the mist, half-formed shapes loom just beyond the light's reach. Are they drowned sailors, or something worse? At the base of the lighthouse, an iron hatch lies slightly open, its chain snapped as if by immense force. Black seawater oozes from the cracks, mingling with strands of long, rotting hair. A single handprint, too large, too webbed, glistens on the wet steps leading up. Inside the tower, the spiral staircase is lit only by a swinging lantern. A silhouette crawls on all fours along the ceiling, her limbs too long, her head twisted backward. Her mouth is stretched in a silent scream, her eyes two voids reflecting the dying light. A waterlogged journal lies open on a desk, its pages stained with old blood and brine. The last entry reads, "She's singing again. The light won't last. God forgive me." Before the writing devolves into frenzied scratches. A fishhook impales the page, anchoring a coil of knotted human hair. The lighthouse beacon suddenly flares to life, illuminating the cliffs, where hundreds of pale figures now stand motionless in the surf, all facing the tower. Their mouths move in unison, whispering the drowned words, "You let me out."
Every small town has that one story they don't talk about. In ours, it was the bus that left one foggy morning and never came back. But last week, we saw it again, rattling down the road with no driver. And the children inside? They were all still wearing the same clothes they vanished in.
In the town of Woodbine, kids used to ride Bus 47 every morning along Route 17, a long, winding road cutting through the misty forest. But on October 14th, 1998, that bus never made it to school. 27 students, one driver, all gone. Years passed. People moved on. But then, last Thursday, a farmer named Harold spotted something strange around 5:03 a.m. Bus 47, parked in his field, engine off, doors open, no tracks leading in or out. When police arrived, the inside of the bus looked untouched. Lunchboxes still on the seats, homework still in backpacks, and on every seat, a thin layer of frost. But the creepiest part, they found footprints, small, fresh, leading toward the back and vanishing at the emergency exit. Etched into the fogged windows were 3 words: "We never left." No one knows who wrote it. But every night since, neighbors near Route 17 report the same thing. The sound of children singing an old school rhyme and the sound of tires on gravel. Last night, a teenager dared to sit in the bus alone for a viral video challenge. They live-streamed for 43 minutes. Then the screen glitched, static, screaming, and the last frame, the bus, driving itself into the fog again. No one behind the wheel.
Note the quiet Sunday morning. The sun was shining, and everything seemed normal. Facer Max, her family dog, Max, went out to his usual spot, the old doghouse at the edge of our yard. But this time, he didn't come back. We found Max standing completely still, staring into the darkness of the doghouse. He refused to enter. His tail was down, his ears were twitching. When we called his name, he looked back, but his eyes were full of fear. We thought maybe it was just a raccoon or a snake. We were wrong. That night, we set up a motion-detecting camera near the doghouse. At 2:46 a.m., the camera was triggered. but no one was outside. In the footage, the doghouse door creaked open on its own. A low growl echoed from inside, but Max was asleep indoors the entire time. The next day, we noticed scratch marks on the wood. Deep, unnatural claw marks. Beneath the doghouse, we found something buried. An old, rusted dog collar. Attached to it was a name tag. It read, Buddy, 1925. But we'd never heard of anyone named Buddy. Not in our family, not ever. That evening, Max began barking at corners of the house, at shadows. His food bowl flipped on its own. His favorite ball rolled across the room by itself. Every night, at the same time, 2:46 a.m., the doghouse creaked again. We researched the property. It used to belong to a dog trainer in the 1920s. One of his dogs had disappeared under strange circumstances. Never found. That dog's name was Buddy. We made a plan. We would enter the doghouse together during the next 2:46 a.m. event. We equipped Max with a small body camera and waited inside the house.
As the clock struck 2:46, Max walked slowly toward the doghouse. The temperature dropped. The lights flickered. The footage began glitching from the camera. We saw Max enter and then freeze. Inside the doghouse, a pair of glowing eyes appeared at the back wall. A growl, deeper than any living animal, vibrated through the ground. Max whimpered but didn't back down. He stood tall, brave. Suddenly, the back wall of the doghouse cracked, revealing an old, buried collar and a single paw print in the dirt. Max nudged the collar with his nose. The wind howled once, then silence. The next morning, the doghouse had collapsed completely, as if it had served its final purpose. Since then, Max has returned to his happy, energetic self. He walks past the ruins of the doghouse without fear, but every night at 2:46 a.m., he still pauses and looks toward the yard. And sometimes we hear a second bark, faint and distant, from a voice long gone.
What if I told you some hospitals never let go of their patients, even after death? Abandoned, rotting, forgotten, but not empty. Across the world, there are old hospitals where the walls still echo with cries of the sick and the damned. These aren't just relics of medical history, they're haunted tombs where something darker still lingers. Let's take you inside some of the world's most chilling abandoned hospitals and the horrors that were never discharged. Waverly Hills Sanatorium, USA. Built in 1910 to treat tuberculosis patients, Waverly Hills in Kentucky became known as the Death Tunnel. Over 63,000 people died there. Patients were wheeled through underground shafts to hide the growing death toll from others still alive. Visitors today report screams echoing down the halls, shadow figures darting through rooms, and the infamous Room 502, where a nurse allegedly hung herself. Her ghost, still seen, standing in the doorway, silently watching. Baylitz Heilstätten Hospital, Germany. Used during both World Wars, this massive complex once treated Adolf Hitler himself. But long after the battles ended, the horror never did. Locals claim the empty surgery rooms still drip blood, Paranormal teams recorded disembodied footsteps, cold gusts, and voices begging, "Bitte hilf mir, please help me." Some believe the spirits are wounded soldiers who never found peace, still trapped in their final ward. Mayday Hills Mental Hospital, Australia. Once housing over 1,200 patients, Mayday Hills was notorious for cruel treatments, electroshock therapy, ice baths, and lobotomies. The spirits here? Angry. Tour guides report guests fainting near the isolation cells, and in the nurses' quarters, lights flicker and alarms go off, even when there's no power connected. Some say they hear whispers, "Don't leave me here." These abandoned hospitals may no longer heal the living, but they're not empty. They're filled with memories, suffering, and something unseen. So, the next time you pass an old hospital, don't look too long through the broken windows. Something might be looking back.